Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And I want to thank you for coming to this second conference and also joining us online for those who are joining us via Zoom. First of all, thank you very much for the hospitality and for organizing this conference in the next days for us. It's also a very big pleasure for me to introduce you to the project, which you all know. So I will, rather than introducing you to the project, show a little bit what we've done, because we've done quite a lot. I think we've done more than you can imagine in a time which was really complicated. So if I have to summarize this, the ALPTREES project for me personally was quite I think for all of us, kind of placed in a very challenging time. We had almost no physical meetings, so that makes me even prouder on all our deliverables, which we have almost reached all of them. We will have a steering group meeting on Thursday where we can then discuss the final steps. So for those who don't know the ALPTREES project so well yet, is we had started in October 2019. And these are our physical meetings so far, the group pictures from it. We had a start in Vienna and some smaller meetings which were possible in the last year. And it's a partnership of 12 partners who all, I think, grew with the topic as the project started. I don't know if you remember, but in the first meetings, I asked you all for a keyword, something that you that you think about when you think of non-native tree species in the alpine space. And then we did a small word cloud out of it. And I'm pretty sure when you think about some words, something linked to non-native trees today, this word cloud would look certainly a little bit more different. So I think we all really, in this project, learned new things and had a lot of very intense discussions. We had agreements, but also disagreements. And certainly this is what an Interreg project is about, to come together from different regions and have agreements and disagreements, and then come up with a new way for the alpine space. So if you remember well, we started with defining what a non-native tree species is. That wasn't that easy as it sounded, because we then differentiated very soon between potentially harmful species and invasive non-native tree species. But in general, our focus was on all non-native species which were introduced by man in the alpine space region, which you see here on the map. And from this ongoing discussion, which we catched up in the beginning of our project, that there are non-native trees which can provide numerous benefits and non-native trees which have certain risks for biodiversity, for ecosystem services. From this discussion, we worked very hard on certain deliverables to bring up a strategy to minimize those risks and how to maximize the benefits of NNTs in the alpine space. We had specific objectives to reach, and I'm very happy to announce that we reached all of them. We reached our goals in the thematic deliverables, which was increasing the knowledge on the current status on the non-native tree species, on the distributions, the threats. We developed, another objective was to develop and to implement an homogeneous strategy for non-native tree species, which we have drafted, and to increase the awareness. And given this a huge amount of activities which we were doing through our project, I think we can say that this specific objective was also reached very successfully. And all this leads into the Interreg program to enhance the protection, conservation, and the ecological connectivity of the alpine space ecosystems. And I think we did with our project a very huge contribution to this Interreg program goal. So how did we do this? You all remember our 4 work packages and work package management and communication. at this point, I really want to thank the work package leaders. It was sometimes maybe not easy to be bothered by my emails all the time to make sure that all those tasks in these work packages are completed. But I think the main outputs are certainly reached. So we have developed, we have collected data in work package 1 and developed a risk assessment tool, which I will present to you. In work package 2, we are finalizing the risk maps, which are then accessible for the public. And we have built the knowledge hub with all the technical materials. Translations were certainly a huge topic for our project. So thanks again for all your understanding and your time in translating and drafting and correcting all our technical guidelines we developed. And then, of course, in work package 4, we concluded from all our work packages in the transnational strategy. All those deliverables are, of course, online on the homepage. You know, these figures, I'm just passing by and bringing this back to your memories, the huge amount of work Anja also did with her team at the FAR with collecting the data on urban areas, which is the first collection of NNTs in urban areas in such a coherent, for such a huge area in Europe, where we found out which species are preferred which non-native tree species are preferred in which area, which certainly is some important contribution for future projects. And the citizen science activity was a lot of fun. We used the iNaturalist app. We adapted here a project. I'm sure Florian might do some more words about this, which was a very nice success. And this once again highlighted this data collection. That non-native tree species are certainly a huge discussion in forests, but they play a significant role in urban areas for different ecosystem services, as you know. And here you have listed some of the species which were very on the top list of the non-native tree species on urban areas, which we detected. And you can read more about this, of course, in the handbook on non-native tree species in urban areas. We also conducted a lot of surveys with stakeholders and experts, thanks also to Renee Hazarika, who were leading this in work package 4, and all of you who contributed and found out all those different benefits of non-native tree species mentioned, which of course goes far beyond the timber and the replacement for native species. We have found out a lot of new facts in this project. We found out that in total we collected 648 tree species in the alpine space, of which 526, probably more, are non-native. So at least 81% of the tree species used in urban and in forests are, mainly in urban of course, are non-native, of which the majority comes from North America and Asia. And only 10% of them are considered invasive by certain legislations, policies, or experts. And I guess we all know those which are considered invasive. So Alianthus, which you can see in every corner, Prunus cerotia, and the acacia species. So how to deal with this invasiveness and how to find out if a species is invasive or not, and if it has a potential threat for a site of a nature conservation interest, can be done by the site-specific risk assessment, which we developed during this project. And you can find also the translation of it in all languages of the alpine space in our handbooks, or read a bit more precisely about it in the publication led by Anja Bindewald. And if you follow those steps and also the decision tree, this is a support for those who really need to make the decision whether a non-native tree species can be used in the forest or not. All the data, of course, will help us to project the spread of the non-native, or the suitability of non-native species in future. The map collections will be available in the Knowledge Hub, and also accessible for everyone. We modeled a lot of species in this project. We will hear more about it in the talk of Florian Kraxner. Once again, I want to highlight those differences which we found out in the stakeholder survey. We had not only the official survey where we asked a lot of stakeholders to participate and found out that there were some differences in between the countries. There were countries or regions of the Alpine space where the beneficial side of non-natives is well recognized, while in others, like the negative impacts are more aware for the settlers are more aware of the negative impacts. And this, of course, goes hand in hand with all those workshops and talks we did during this project. I don't know in how many events Alexander was speaking to stakeholders in Slovenia, but it was quite a fantastic thing that we, even though we had such troubles with travel restrictions, managed to do really a lot of workshops and had serious discussions in all the region, in the entire Alpine space, from which we then, of course, could facilitate also more or could collect more information. You remember hopefully the study we did on the timber use of non-native tree species, where we found out that non-natives are occupying a niche, and certainly in volume the Douglas fir is leading this list, followed by Quercus ruber and Juglans nigra. We had also some fantastic school activities where students were surprising us with their talents by using non-native timber for their production. And I also want to mention all our pilot actions. The reports will be online. So thank you very much for contributing so much in the different pilot actions. And I think this was a very important contribution to really bring the strategy we developed and the discussions we developed on this, let's say, transnational level into your areas. We also had a lot of school activities going on. The reports are, of course, to find on the homepage. And I think the discussions with the youngest were actually quite interesting to see their point of view. There to discuss with them also their thoughts about the future and the role that maybe everything they know, forests like they might know it now, might change, and also the parks. So it was actually quite interesting to learn about all those school activities for very different ages. We dedicated quite a lot of time also in developing training material for the youngest so that we can increase the knowledge on non-native and also native tree species, on tree species in general, already in schools, in the formal and non-formal education pathways. All those material sets are meant for teachers, and they are available also on the homepage, as I said several times already, translated to all languages. So here, big thanks again also to everybody who contributed in developing this. I also don't want to forget to mention that we won during the lifetime of this project in my region contest by designing a children's song.
Abbiamo assaggiato, sì, sì.
Okay, what?
Non è male.
And then we, so once again, I want to ring the bell for, wait a second, maybe I can mute you. Or ring the bell for the management handbooks, which we developed, where we not only described the species for different uses, but also had very interesting articles and contributions from experts all over. Very popular already is our identification handbook, translated to all languages, covering over 50 species, and will be sent to you as soon as it's printed. So finally, I also want to highlight some our strategy, which has 5 goals from achieving, and where we really discussed how non-native tree species can contribute to very important goals for the entire region, like achieving sustainability, reduce the risks, and increase and an appropriate awareness and communication. I know it takes too much time, but I will just take it. Okay. If it's okay, because it's the last time I'm presenting this to you. I don't want to miss anything. I want to show you also like the online course we developed here. We had fantastic contributions from you, talks about different topics, and it's open to everybody. learn about non-natives in a standalone online training course. The last 2 months we will now dedicate to developing the non-native trees hub, where we want to develop a library. So we will talk about this tomorrow during the steering group meeting, how we can organize this, where we give the link to all the trainings we developed, where we can
non era distante, però c'è online, perfetto.
I can't hear you, so I will try to mute you if it's somehow possible. So I don't think so. Yes. It's this one, right? Okay, audio, perfecto. Sorry, we will have a question session. Thank you so much. So this is the Knowledge Hub, where I'm also inviting everybody to be a part of the editorial team, also beyond the lifetime of this project. And it would be great here to create an access to all the risk maps in Europe on non-native tree species. And we are on the last steps to have the database fit and put into this Knowledge Hub so that we can keep updating the knowledge on non-native tree species. Okay, now I think you find also all of the things which we documented on the homepage, and it would be great if you have a look at it. But I want to have 3 more slides to conclude my personal view, what I learned out of this project. And it's just 3 points. And the first would be that I really think that this Interact program really works, given all the discussions and the agreements and disagreements which I mentioned earlier we had. I think without a program like this, we would never have the chance to have this exchange on non-native tree species as we had it. We had really intense times. We met a lot of times, every 2 months, probably online. Unfortunately, only all the discussions we had with our stakeholders. I think without the program, and also maybe also without this link, this strong link we had in this project to the OISALP groups, to the action groups 8 and action group 2, the project, it really showed me that the program as such, the Interact program as such, is really working. And I'm really proud that we as a project could contribute to this. The second, what I personally found fascinating is I always thought I learned a lot about non-native tree species. I knew the species names, the ecology, their ability to spread, and so on. But what this project taught me was that it's actually mainly about the people who use it, the species, who think about their different ways how to use non-native tree species, or people who wish to eradicate them and develop new methods, or researchers who are very ambitious and very dedicated to this topic. And without this human aspect, the non-native tree species do have this very strong link to people, as it is in their nature to arrive in these new regions also by humans. And this project taught me that this is stronger than I've ever expected. And of course, the last conclusion I want to take, we identified over 526 non-native tree species in a fairly large, but also not so large region. And I believe there is a huger diversity coming up in the future, and with this diversity also maybe interactions with pests and diseases, and stress levels which come up, and different topics which need to be covered. So we are starting from this number, and I think the diversity of non-native tree species shows that there is still a lot of research needed, and a lot of discussion and observations and monitorings are needed to really manage non-native tree species in a sustainable way. So with this, I'm at the end of my introduction of the project, and also last presentation in this way. And I want to thank you all for being part of this project, and I want you to enjoy the next days. So thank you very much for the time. Thank you.